and welcome to this podcast. Today we have José Luis from Geko Cloud. Welcome, José Luis.
Hi, how are you doing?
I always use the first question to introduce yourself, basically who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm José Luis Sánchez. I live in Barcelona, and I'm the CEO of geko.cloud. My career, more or less, it's the last 20 years I spent my time in architecture of complex platforms in internet, and also building architectures inside on-premise data centers. Maybe the last 10 years, I focused my capabilities and my skills to bring those applications and customers to the cloud. And more or less, the last 3 years, I decided to create geko.cloud with David Puig, our CTO, and our company is suffering a huge growth in the last month because our customers. So very happy to be here and talk with you, Pablo.
Thank you very much. So the next question is more or less related to your cloud journey. So basically, when did you start it, or when was the first time that you read about the cloud? And yeah, maybe you can tell us about your first steps.
Actually, I remember that I started to work with cloud in the very beginning of AWS when they only have S3 and EC2 services. Why? Because we have everything up and running in our on-premise data center, and we have the need of have some kind of edge platform without stability. I mean, we need in certain parts of the year have more servers and have the opportunity to bring them stopped or running up for our customers. So we start only using instances and infrastructure as a service. And then after, we start to work with S3. So basically, I started with AWS.
Cool. So did I. I also started with AWS and then moved forward to other cloud providers. Well, you already know that there are a lot of advantages, but also disadvantages with the cloud. In your opinion and your experience, what are the biggest advantages of the cloud?
Let me start with the disadvantages, maybe, because it's more friendly for me. Actually, let's say 10 years ago or maybe 8 years ago, we started with the age of moving from the legacy on-premise to the cloud trip. Maybe we are in the edge of have kind of hybrid topology for the projects. Right now, the disadvantage of the cloud itself, it's the services, the SaaS ones. I mean, lots of customers and a lot of experience with projects tell me that there are a lot of people using services coming from certain cloud providers. Let's say RDS, let's say, I don't know, kind of Elastic Beanstalk or whatever. It means that all of those people have clear vendor locking inside those cloud providers. So this is not a real disadvantage of cloud provider itself. It's a disadvantage of a strategy to go to the cloud. With that, I don't want to mean that this is not good to go to the cloud using cloud-friendly approach, but it's true that a lot of customers in last 3 years or 5 years are moving constantly their infrastructure from one cloud to another, or start to make more hybrid topology or architecture. So our customers and our experience start to tell us that people start to be more cloud agnostic. I mean, start to work with more IaaS approach more than with SaaS approach. Of course, this is my opinion. I have a lot of friends and partners that are not agree with me, but I think that the next years will go more in terms of providing this kind of capabilities of being more cloud agnostic and have the possibility to change your infrastructure as you decide. The advantages, I don't know, maybe a lot of advantages. The first, maybe the 1 or 3 most important ones, it's the cost-effective one. I mean, you grow, you pay as you grow. But the topic of pay as you grow, it depends on your strategy when you build your infrastructure. I mean, there are a lot of marketplaces that are working, I don't know, with statically 5 servers. If you don't have autoscaling, if you don't use autoscaling, or you don't provide kind of, I don't know, infrastructure that grow or even decrease when you don't have customers, you are not developing a properly cost-effective architecture. So the idea is try to have this kind of elastic architecture that allows you to have this pay as you grow. For me, maybe this is the one most important. The second one maybe will be avoid kind of the behaviors or the issues or the problem of handle with the infrastructure. There are a lot of companies that it is true that have specific behaviors and specific needs in terms of latency, networking. I don't know. There are companies that comes to Geko and say, okay, guys, I need to move to the cloud because it's mandatory, and the market tell me that I need to move there. And I say, okay, what do you have? Okay, I have a storage area network of 25 petabytes of infra. Say, okay, let me understand better. What do you have internally? And then after we start to talk in a conversation and understand deeply if it's mandatory or not, go to the cloud. For me, basically, for companies that have, as we mentioned before, kind of elasticity or have different kind of behaviors of their infrastructure by night or by days or even in summer, or have kind of elasticity, it's good. And then after, if they don't have an operation team that handle with the servers, disk issues, network topology, or they don't want to handle with this kind of investment, the cloud is a pure benefit. And maybe the third one, it's kind of, we're living in an age of, there are a lot of companies that have a lot of new ideas, crazy ideas, and the cloud provides you the chance of bring up and running something very fast, have some kind of MVP or proof of concept to show to the investor people or to your friends, or explain to the market or to your customers. So maybe this is the third one that I appreciate more in terms of cloud. Otherwise, you will need to buy servers, rack it, configure the IP configuration, network load balancing, certificates, all of those painting that there are a lot of people that didn't have the chance to have an operation teams who is pure dedicated to this. No, more or less, this is the advantages and disadvantages too.
Yeah, I totally agree that with the cloud you can test a product or just an application. I will say in minutes or in hours, and with on-premise you need probably 1 month, 2 months, depends.
Of course, and maybe even you can replicate it. I mean, if the proof of concept, it doesn't work, you don't care, because actually you understand, you learn a lot, and then you say, okay, I have a template of PHP application with MySQL, RDS, with I don't know, and I have the chance to replicate it, changing the product, and do it monthly. So this is more or less that people understand better when they go to the cloud approach.
And investing very less money, because you only pay for what you use, and you don't have to buy any hardware or infrastructure. You just set up everything in minutes or hours, as you already said. And there is another point that you mentioned, which I really like, which is you don't have to move to the cloud everything and all the applications. You have to define a plan and a strategy, because not everything is ready to go to the cloud. So that's really a good point, which I take with me.
Yeah, Actually, there are a lot of people that miss out that there is a chance to bring kind of hybrid topology. I mean, maybe you can have on-premise infrastructure bringing up, I don't know, legacy stuff or bigger storage area network or legacy databases or whatever, but you can use cloud for the edge ones. I mean, maybe you can have the marketplace or the sales platform in the cloud, maybe because you have a Black Friday or something like that, that you expecting lots of or thousands of customers in a night or in a week, you can use for that, okay? Not all the times and all the customers and all the infrastructure are really prepared to go to be on the cloud natively or fully, but maybe in a partial way, like the edge, use the cloud on the edge. The word of edge, I start to hear about that 10 years ago, more or less. The people talk a lot about that, but there are few people that use it. For instance, when I was working in Vueling, in an airline company here, placed in Barcelona, we use for different kind of parts of the services of the airline, but the most advantages we found in the cloud is for the edge in terms of selling tickets, in the parts of sales, because we understand that we have the chance to grow up in a minute our infrastructure of selling platform. Otherwise, we need to, as we said before, ask about install more infrastructure, and it means days or even months for a huge company. Okay, because you have, I don't know, to pay the bills, to start with the production of the machines and all of this stuff. So it brings you the possibility. So of course, this is not mandatory to move everything. Actually, the new paradigm, the new edge, it's about hybrid cloud. For that reason, I think that it is very important. The new speech is more about communications, encryption, security, and bring the ability to the corporates to decide which is better for them. For that reason, it is very important for Geko to be free. We don't work for the cloud third parties or cloud proposals. We are working for our customers. So every time that customers come to us and explain their plan, their infrastructure, their needs, and their product, the only thing we can help them, it's being free. It's explaining what is better for them. Okay, guys, in the moment of your company right now, it's not the moment to bring everything to the cloud. Why? I don't know, because it means a lot of maintenance stops that your company cannot afford, or maybe your development team have no time to understand how it works. I don't know. Every time have the moment itself to have this approach. Maybe fully, maybe partially, maybe with the edge, maybe it depends.
Cool, very cool. And this leads to the next question, because it's related to the cloud skills. As you right now mentioned, if a team doesn't have the right cloud skills, it will be very difficult to migrate to the cloud from scratch. So the question is more an opinion, because I believe that in the future, in the near future, everybody in the IT world is going to need to have at least the very basic cloud skills or knowledge. Do you also agree on this approach?
Well, actually, the point here is, I agree. The point here is there is no formal academic solutions that provides our people or our company membership to understand how works cloud. And in the future, I'm pretty sure that the cloud marketplace will grow a lot. I think that the cloud will be more specific, and we will the market will tend to spread clouds in different needs. Maybe one cloud will be more dedicated, I don't know, to the machine learning, maybe another one more in the network capabilities, maybe another one in the, I don't know, graphic behavior. And the point here is the capability of the teams to or the companies to provide engineering culture, to make them grow with the technical skills that right now we don't have these skills maybe in the market right now. Maybe what we know in terms of AWS or in Terraform or in CloudFormation in 3 years will make no sense. So the point is we need to provide them the ability to how to learn and teach them to understand how it works. And of course, we need to be prepared to work with third-party companies like, for instance, us, Geko, or another ones that help you and provide you these skills that they have for another experience or customers or for the certifications, but always inside the company. When we provide a solution and help with a project in a customer, we did it inside the company, in order that all the technical staff join the project, join the trip together. Why? Because at the end of the trip, when Geko comes out of the project, all the people inside the company will continue leading the transformation of the company. This is the only way. And also they will need to be prepared for sure in the future to continue understanding and continue to be prepared to the new clouds, the new APIs, the new formats, the new strategies, and the new topologies. I think this is the only way that we can afford or have a technical team ready for that. It's like a medicine, more or less. If you study medicine and finish now, the next 30 or even 40 years, you will need to start to be in touch with the news, with the new papers, with the, I don't know, with this information and need to be prepared. Your brain need to be prepared for the new things that will come up.
It's a continuous learning where you never stop to learn, because if you stop, then you are behind your competitors or behind your knowledge is not enough, or your skills are not up to date, so to say.
But otherwise, it is true that there are a lot of companies that have a kind of DNA about they must to be in the wave all the time. I need that my people training in Terraform, in Helm. I want to be all of my production environment using Kubernetes. No, I'm not telling that. I'm telling that all the time the teams should be prepared to understand what is the new technologies, and if it's that technologies fits with my needs. That's all what I say. Okay, it is true that our technical team shouldn't be working a legacy technology or topology or cloud or whatever, but it is not mandatory that going to the last one maybe, but they have to be the skills to be prepared and in order to understand if the new approach in terms of technology fits with their needs in terms of business. Maybe this is the most important ones, even of terms of technical stuff. It's more about the solutions and the needs of the company, if there is a merge.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's very important to understand the cloud benefits. And this leads to the next question, which is related to cloud providers, because there are a lot of them. And I get a lot of times the question, which cloud provider to use? And therefore, it's very important to understand the benefits of them. And what's your opinion about this?
As I told you before, the aim of Geko and personal mine, it's you must be free as a company, as a vendor, as a technical director. The point is, you need to understand what provides you or which capabilities provide you, or which benefits provide you every single cloud. If you don't know yet, you need to spend time to understand it better. There is no better cloud for everything. And as I mentioned also before, I think that in the future, in the near future, we will see that start to come up new cloud with more specific features. No? When there is a customer or a project that comes to us and ask about a project or migration or they have an MVP that wants to bring up in a more production environment. First of all, we start to talk with them in terms of which is your infrastructure, which is technology, which is your language, what do you expect from the company, which capabilities have in terms of company, which is your business. So it depends. It depends on the customer. It depends on which is your market. If you're in Europe, which latency you will need for your business, because cloud, it's cloud, it's in the edge. So it means milliseconds of latency. Maybe the better for you is have your own data center with huge latency, or maybe you need to have a CDN worldwide with Google Cloud, and then after you maybe have AWS in, I don't know, Sao Paulo, and then have DigitalOcean in France for that region. I don't know. I think that the most important part in your question is you must be free. There is no one better cloud solution for everything. For sure, if you tell me about which cloud is cheaper, as bigger as the machines. Okay, for right now, Google Cloud and DigitalOcean are cheaper than AWS, as bigger as the machines are. If you ask me about another topics like, okay, and what about Kinesis or Elasticsearch service? Okay, it depends, because every cloud provider have their own services, their SaaS topology. So every time depends. Every time depends. There is no one that is better.
Yeah, actually, that was not an easy question. It was very tricky because there is no an easy
correct answer. No, there is no correct answer.
Exactly, there is no correct answer. Following with the topic of cloud providers, well, we see during the last years how the cloud market share looks like. What do you think, or how do you see the cloud market share during the next years? Do you see new players coming up? Do you see the big players with less or more share? Or yeah,
I think that it will comes up lots of different cloud providers, but not maybe with the same behavior that Google or Azure or AWS did. Right now, what we saw before, it's AWS come up with thousands of different services every year and add and more and more and more. But they don't have to change to be very powerful in 10 or in 20. They cover more or less 80 or 90% of the needs of their customers, but not 100%. So they are not very specific with a lot of needs of their customers. So I think, it's my point of view, I think that it will comes up lots of different new players, but maybe not bigger than what we face till now. Maybe will be a more locally or more, I don't know, neighbor ones. I don't know, maybe a little ones, but more specific with specific behaviors, as we mentioned before. I see in the future kind of cloud providers for machine learning, for IoT, for I don't know, kind of different behaviors with bigger APIs, with bigger infrastructure, more specific, more dedicated to those people. And for sure, Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud, I think that will tend to stop growing in new services. I think, it's my point of view. Otherwise, they will not need the real needs of the customers. Because right now, as you face with the AWS machine learning or big data services, and you talk with customers and with partners and with companies about their experience, a lot of them understand and think that it is better Google for that, or it is better have their own Kubernetes or their own infrastructure for that. So I think that in the future will comes up new players for sure. But of course, it is very complicated bring up a company that like Amazon or like Azure. It's a nightmare. It's very huge company. So I understand that it will be much more little than those.
Very, very interesting approach. I kind of share your opinion, and I also see this tendency that there will be more providers which are more specialized on a niche or something like this. But let's see how this evolves in the future.
Yes, the health market, I think that everything related with the pharmacy industry, with the healthcare, it will grow a lot. So financial ones also, I understand it will comes up a lot of different players.
Yeah, very interesting topic. The next question is really changing a lot the topic. I'm going to talk now about China because we already know how massive this market is and how fast it is growing. Same as the Chinese cloud providers, they are also expanding outside of China and Asia, and they are also growing incredibly fast. What's your opinion about this market, these cloud providers, and all what evolves with China?
On the one hand, I think that China, it's growing a lot, and it's true that after the COVID party, they returns lots of different benefits and will grow more than the rest of the world. It is true that they have lots of companies like, I don't know, Alibaba or DoYu or King Cloud providers that are super big, but are very focused on China market. So I understand that they will start to grow outside China in the next years or even months. But this conflicts directly with their policy of being very locally placed in China. So I don't understand what will happen with the proxy, with the firewall policy that they have right now with the internet topology and bring visibility of the country or otherwhere of the China. I don't know how it will impact and how it will be in conflict with the policy needs. But for sure, I understand that will grow outside China. Right now, Geko is working in a partnership with King Cloud. It's one of the biggest cloud providers that are in China, with a platform called SmartCube, that is a Kubernetes platform for people that haven't chance or deep knowledge in Kubernetes. It's a kind of dashboards where you can see monitoring, logs, pods. You can log inside the containers and everything. And we have a very good relationship. There are a people very oriented to the business, very open, super technical. Every time you need something from them, it's a people that immediately answer by Slack, and it is every time that you explain them that you are spending your time and you are very interested on their technologies, they spend all the time they can do for you. So my experience with them is there are people very, very oriented to the production, to the business. So I understand that in the next years, for sure, they will grow outside China a lot, and we'll see what happens with the fight between the real cloud providers outside of China and in China. I think that we will see kind of joint venture together, or I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely really interesting. And yeah, let's see how this evolves in the future. We are almost over, just the last two questions, and they are more personal. The first question is more related to one of the latest things that you have learned about cloud. It can be a technical topic, a tool, a strategic, or whatever you want to share with us. Very welcome.
Actually, I can explain to you one topic, because in the last week or even months, I learned a lot. Actually, as a company, we talk all the time of new technologies, new services that our customers request to us. So maybe the more interesting ones is about Kubeflow. And also the new the new technologies that provides you capability of bring all your infrastructure inside Kubernetes platform to try to be more cloud agnostic. So maybe something that I can share with you, it's in the future, we also will spend a lot of time in this point, in try to, people start to be very confused with if it is a good approach, very fully cloud approach, or go to more Kubernetes, more agnostic behavior. So I think that in the future it will be one of the more interesting topics to talk about. And I don't know if you'll be aware of that, but the last Black Friday on December, lots of customers that are working and we work for them and have their applications and marketplaces running up in AWS have a lot of troubles in terms of networking, connectivity, web application firewalls. And it was caused because AWS move their performance needs to their own marketplace.
Okay.
That's why we will see what will happen in the marketplace in the future and with the customers, because they understand and they learn a lot from the last Black Friday that they cannot depend fully in a cloud provider. So in the next months and even years, we will see how company start to prepare itself to be more agnostic in the situations, and they can handle better every time they need to move outside in one cloud or in another. And this is something more or less interesting I can share with you.
Wow, you touch really important points. Cloud agnostic, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud are really hot topics and very trendy at the moment, but also I also see the direction of the technologies and the customers that are they are trying to be more agnostic and not that focus or married with just one provider or company. In that case,
this is something that we will see in the future. What happens? There are a lot of different point of views for sure. You can start your proof of concept using SaaS fully platform, but maybe in the future when you have a real business working, you need to take care of your customers. So what happens when you have a Black Friday in your and your cloud provider have or provide issues in strange behaviors in your platform to bring the resources to their own marketplace. So maybe maybe AWS will kill me after after this podcast, but this is something that happens. And actually, we in our Twitter account we share with our customers, guys, take care because web application firewall start to be in trouble. So we must to remove from their infrastructure. What was happened that our customers work without WAF, without web application firewall. Without security, they should remove the security out in order to prevent the business, in order to still continue bring their product to the customer. So it will be very, very funny what will happen in the future.
Thank you very much for sharing this experience and real use case. I think that adds really a lot of value to the people who's listening the podcast with real customer cases.
We are very aware. Sorry, we are very aware about every time that we are very point finger all the time that huge company have issues like, I don't know, Slack or even Google or AWS. And it's very funny every time that we face something like that, we Twitter immediately. And sometimes the company answer us and say, okay, thank you, Geko Cloud. Stop being my pingdom, my personal pingdom, please stop. Tell to the community. So please follow in our Twitter account. It will be very funny, your retweets.
And that's kind of funny. But this leads to the next question, which is more related to information, because there is a lot of information out there. And sometimes it's kind of difficult prioritize or to choose which information is more useful for your needs. It would be very nice if you could share with us which sources do you use to keep yourself up to date, other than Twitter, that I already know that you use it.
Actually, to be honest with you, Twitter maybe is the bigger one for sure. But let me say something that is not very political, but let me say my customers. My customers keep me up and updated all the time, because they come up all the time with new needs, with new services. Sometimes I face with them and tell me, okay, did you have experience with that service in the marketplace or in the cloud marketplace? Or do you have experience with the technology? Or do you have experience with, I don't know, kind of, do you have experience with Varnish, working with CDN and multi-topology, connectivity using VPNs encrypted? I don't know. Let's sit together. Let's sit together. Let me try with you. And this is very funny. This is a very funny one. My team for sure use a lot of different I don't know, kind of podcasts, blogs. We have our own blog that we very glad to share with you. It's geko.cloud/blog. You can follow us if you don't mind, and you will see every week more or less we try to explain technical stuff and maybe lots of different behaviors we found, or how we solve a problem of our customers inside the cloud. So we invite you to take a look at that. And my team for sure, it's following a lot of different blogs. They are training all the time and joining different meetups, community meetups. We try to join as much as possible every time our customers and the business have the chance to do it, and more or less that's all.
Oh, very cool, very interesting, and I think that being up to date from your customers is the best thing that you can have. So, in that sense, that's the best way of source of information.
As a cloud and DevOps provider, and let's say solution provider, sometimes it's difficult to handle with the customers when they say, okay, guys, I need to implement something in I don't know, Prometheus monitoring platform with FluentD, with logs. And in one time, we face with one specific behavior of that drivers of FluentD, and they say, okay, but you're a cloud provider and DevOps provider, you must know it. Sometimes it is super difficult to make them understand that it's impossible to understand all the libraries, all the technologies, all the behaviors of the monitoring or the logs stuff. Actually, the only thing we can do for them, it's, of course, we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of certifications and so on, but this is a trip that we start together, and we have the resources, the knowledge, and the aim to provide them the better solutions. But it is impossible for any customer, for any product, for any company to know all the scene, all the technical parts, all the behaviors of the cloud. It is impossible. It is impossible. So sometimes the only way you have to improve your skills and understand as better as you can the one technology, it's prove it with your customer together, make the proof of concept, quality assurance, and then after go to the production one with your maintenance, for sure.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It's crazy. It's impossible to know everything about cloud because it's more than, it's a complete IT department and not just a few persons. And yeah, learning by doing, that's the best way to learn.
Exactly. And feedback improvement, that's the only way. At the end, DevOps, it's a kind of philosophy that provides you all the topics we mentioned before. MVP, proof of concept, and then after feedback, improvement, and learning by doing, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. We are already done. Thank you very much, José Luis, for participating, for sharing your opinions and experience. And yeah, it's been a pleasure for me having you in the podcast.
Of course, Pablo, thank you very much for your invitation. It's a pleasure for sure. And as we mentioned before, I think that we start a relationship together that I want to be keeping in touch with you. And for sure, let me share again geko.cloud in Twitter, in Instagram, in Web1. So every time you need something in terms of DevOps and cloud for projects or everything you may need, we are here for help you. Thank you very much again, Pablo. It's a pleasure for us.
Cool. Thank you. Then see you in the next podcast. Bye-bye.